In this video, I will give you all 6 players that you need to succeed, plus bonus options for the single game captain showdown mode slate on DraftKings tonight as the Vikings roll into Chicago to compete for second place in the NFC North in this divisional showcase. My name's Quick Pick Nick, and having simulated a few 100,000 different lineup combinations using every player's price and projection, here are your locks and lotteries for Monday Night Football tonight, November 16th, 2020. If you like this kind of fast-paced calculated content, subscribe and stay tuned for more lineups throughout the season, including a Thursday Night Football FanDuel lineup coming soon. For our MVP in the first lock of this lineup, my model was actually able to save some money, as this MVP will have both a good matchup and cheap price for tonight's contest, that being Big Pole Nick Foles. Priced at just $9,800 on DraftKings, Foles ranks 5th in price, allowing for an affordable multiplier in the MVP position. But just because Foles is cheap doesn't mean that he won't be able to produce, and in fact should be able to have just as big a game as anybody else in this slate. Foles actually showed up last week against the Titans, scoring nearly 25 fantasy points versus what many consider one of the toughest pass defenses in the league. This week, Foles faces a Vikings defense that is significantly weaker, ranking 30th in pass yards allowed per game to opposing teams and 31st in pass touchdowns allowed per game in the league, allowing for an open field throughout the game that Foles will likely be able to continuously expose and exploit during the night, proving for a bountiful and successful fantasy output. After locking in Foles at MVP, we're able to use some of the excess cash to get the top-ranked player in price on DraftKings, that being Dalvin Cook. If the NFL ever considered giving the MVP award to any other position besides quarterback, Cook would be at the top of that list, as he has single-handedly carried the Vikings to winning games that shouldn't have even been competitive. Cook is ranked first in the league in rushing yards per game and rushing touchdowns per game, recording 122 rush yards per game and an astounding 1.71 rushing touchdowns per game in 2020. Cook gets the volume that he needs to produce too, ranking 2nd in carries per game with around 20.5. While Chicago's defense isn't bad, they aren't very good either, ranking as an about middle-of-the-road rushing defense as the 14th in the NFL. The Bears haven't faced a game wrecker like Cook yet though, and Cook should be able to redefine what Chicago thinks is a passable defense. For the third and final lock of this lineup, my model selected Kirk Cousins. Although pushed to the background in discussions of better quarterbacks, Cousins actually hasn't been doing too poorly recently, scoring over 20 fantasy points against Tennessee's stout defense. The week before against Green Bay though, Cousins only managed 10, so he's clearly inconsistent, but against Chicago, Cousins should be able to find another high fantasy point performance. Although tough in the pass game, Chicago is weak in terms of turnover potential, causing just around half of an interception per game, ranking 24th in the league in turnovers. Interceptions are one of Cousins' main downfalls, so going up against a team who is typically unable to force these kinds of turnovers should allow for Cousins to throw the ball freely. Moving on to the lotteries, I really played it safe here and picked options that are pretty foolproof and unlikely to fail, but also unlikely to explode. These options include both kickers, Dan Bailey and Cairo Santos, and the Bears defense. The reason I picked so conservatively here is to give you an idea of the money we have to work with, and I encourage you to downgrade one of the kickers to be able to upgrade either the other kicker or defense to a more promising receiver or tight end. That's only if you want a chance at the big money though, as you'll have to be able to guess with random chance which low-cost player will get that lucky touchdown. I don't want to show you a luck-based lineup, so this one should be able to win some decent prizes in most contests, just not the first place choice. The reason I think this lineup will be able to produce at least in the low prize brackets is due to the kicker's ability to score at minimum somewhere in the high single digits area, with 7 or more for both of them, especially considering both the Vikings and Bears' high percentage of red zone stops throughout the season. The Bears made the cut instead of the Vikings for 2 reasons, the first of which being that our MVP is the Bears quarterback, so we don't want to take any points away from one player on our team when another does well, and the second of which being that they're just the better overall defense with a significantly higher average in terms of fantasy output per week. But again, consider checking out adjacent receivers or tight ends to make your own decisions if you want a chance at that $1 million prize. It's just that I don't want to show any guesswork here, and with this lineup, we will probably be able to win at least some cash tonight with low risk and low reward. That's what my model was able to come up with for the Monday Night Football single game showdown captain mode slate on DraftKings tonight, November 16th, 2020. This has been Quick Pick Nick, the intersection for sports, data analysis, and speed. Thanks for watching.